everybody. We've got this week the CEO of Sendr on the show. Me and
Great
Dave
to be
met
here.
a couple of years ago now,
Yeah.
and the stuff that they're building at Sendr, I personally think is extremely exciting. And yeah, great to have you on the show, Dave.
Thanks, mate. Great to be here. And likewise, you guys are doing very cool stuff for the STR communities you work with. So nice to be here.
Trying our best. But I think like as we build on our partnership, obviously going forward, we wanted to get you on the show, give I guess our audience a bit of an understanding of like just what you've seen change in the sales landscape. Let's give people maybe a bit of a background on like maybe your journey through sales before we get onto the problems you're solving now.
Yeah, mate. Happy to have been in go-to-market way too many years. Probably 2006, got my first gig. And at every kind of role, so like the SDR making those 20 meetings a week to hit target, SDR manager, sales manager, I led partnerships, AE, all sorts, headed up growth. And at different roles, so UK startups, but also like a scale up the Google bought in 2012 called Wildfire, I headed up partnerships in the UK for Optimizely over in the Bay Area. So have kind of been in where I think growth is effectively done in the US, but also operating here out in the UK. So yeah, interesting mix of experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you kind of alluded to there, like back doing like SDR, trying to get your 20 meetings every week and stuff.
Yeah.
You've seen that like cold call, here's a list, just hammer it, work it out. So what you're actually doing now solves a lot of the issues that I think were created along that path with the sales industrial complex, more sales tools in the market and all of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where do you think, like in your view, where do you think that journey has gone from like SDRs how they used to now? Like give us just what your view of that is and why that's maybe changed. To put you on the
Yeah,
spot, massively, I know,
interesting.
but
Yeah, interesting, mate. I just think the SDR was such like a core role. I remember being an AE at Google and there'd be like two SDRs to one AE. You'd have your teamwork if you book your meetings. They could connect easily on calls. Deliverability wasn't an issue. They're reaching inboxes. Um, so we had this sort of nice evolving sales team back in the 2010s where it was quite a predictable function.
Mhm.
And then Cambrian explosion of tech, like there's vendors everywhere, technicalities of doing email and LinkedIn at scale,
Mhm.
automations, AI enrichment. You kind of this role evolved like the GTM engineer and automation engineer, and it, like every LinkedIn post about how this X sequence drove Y result. But I think the reality was for teams that they got a little bit carved out of the space. So the
Yeah,
SDRs were disempowered and no longer able to kind of like be in charge of their effective tools of outreach. And the SDRs are kind of like the heartbeat of the business. The automation engineer is often this like logical person who'll put one process in place, but perhaps disappear a month or two later, and that automation is no longer working. So yeah, that happened, and I think obviously deliverability became harder, and there's technical challenges. And so the thing we've zoomed in on at Sendr is the ability to do things that a GTM engineer would do, but putting that back in the hands of the SDR team. And so
Mhm.
we've kind of called it lovable for GTM. It's like the vision we're going after,
Yeah,
like the ability to prompt the sequence that you wish to put into place, whether that's outreach or inbound nurture. Um, Prompt it with multi-channel, multimodal, whether it's video, voice, text,
yeah,
but with a lot of the technical challenges solved in our back
yeah.
end for the user. And so
And
empowering the SDR again is the vision. Yeah.
I love that vision. Like putting, I think you said it before we started. It was like putting the human back in like the heart of the org, putting the sales rep back in the org, right, rather than over dialing on automations and outreach, and then I
Yeah.
guess flooding the sales reps with too many tools and too many considerations and decisions. So by the time they're actually talking to your prospects, they're just a bit fatigued
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not as best as they could be, right? But one of the things I like that you're putting into, I guess like your direction anyway, is like removing that bloat, removing the pressure to become like an AI genius. So let the salesperson be the salesperson, right? So can you just talk me through like, how did you get to um,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
idea?
Yeah.
Like where did Sender start? Because there was this big explosion with a certain tool, and then go-to-market engineers came around. and everybody realized, oh, we don't give clay to all the reps. How did you come about?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah, I had just wrapped up a growth role at a UK scale up. We'd done really well. I think it was 13th fastest growing UK company for 3 years. I got a gig with the Financial Times as a growth consultant, uh, almost to kind of like go back to the coal face, learn the new tools that everyone was using. And so I was working at the FT, and so the initial piece we put in place with Sendr was actually the video bit because we
Mm,
wanted to reach hard to reach professionals, senior finance, senior professional service leaders on behalf of a brand who really cared about their brand image, that the quality couldn't drop, but we had to do outreach well. So we started with video and we connected really well with that audience. The FT took us in house to work with two more teams, and we've been working with the FT as a design partner for 2 years now. So that has meant every time we design something at Sender, we're always like, how do we do this well? Like, what does the quality version of this look like in a world that's going after to volume? Um, then in the process of doing that, every call would be like, okay, go get your data partner, then go and get your data enriched. And once you've done that
mm,
enrichment, maybe you want to add some voice, maybe you want to do some outreach pages, and then we're here for you at that final point. And then the complexity of stitching all those tools together became almost like the bigger opportunity to solve. And then not only that, the fact that everyone was doing, you would enrich an entire list or you do videos from an entire list before you realize that only 20% have responded in the first place. So it's like the thing we now solve is every tool you need, that high quality outreach or inbound nurture, in one intelligent sequencer where you don't send a voice note until you've done these other three steps, or you don't spend credits on AI research until it's like, you know, this person's engaged and responding to you.
yeah,
So we are now enabling SDR leaders, growth leaders, and CFOs to consolidate tool stack consolidation, credit stack consolidation, but still actually drive higher quality, impactful outreach in the process. So that's where we now sit. That whole vision, all the tools you need, prompted into the sequences you need. And then the next thing we're adding is the ability to further refine your sequence through chat experience. And the last thing I'll say on that is I think we went through that wave of like 11x and the SDIEIs, and it sort of proved that that humans are humans. We're reaching out to human buyers. And so where we think about it through the lens of a quality brand like the FT, yes, you want to use agentic to build that campaign, but you still want the ability to edit and tweak and further refine before you push something out. So we're trying to go after that sweet spot, human in the loop, brand safe, agentic supported sales outreach.
everything there, that the genesis of that was like the importance of video, because that makes it personal, that keeps it human, it represents the brand correctly. And so everything's been driven by that, like very clear human at the center piece. And personally, that's where I see like a lot. Like we obviously look at tools every single week, and we demo tools, and they're often just like the same white label. Like there's actually more and more of it, but there's the same white label of like the underlying tool, which is often something like go high level or something,
Yeah, yeah.
and they all start to become the same. But you've actually come from that importance of video and representing the brand, and that's like your driving factor. So I think that's why you're doing so well with something that is actually unique and solves a lot of that like complexity that people have.
Yeah, I think in the process we've done, there's interesting aspects of Sender that will enable you to do things you can't do anywhere else, like the ability to personalize a video and for it to play natively in LinkedIn DM or WhatsApp DM. I don't know which other tools offer that, but you'd be stitching two or three together if any other do.
Yeah,
Um, pages that you could house white papers on, or we have recruiters that use our Sender pages for embedding CVs on. And so you could just like, we've built a creative suite of tools and we've differentiated, I guess, through our journey. And I'd love to be really like wise after the event and that we saw this all. But I think we started with the bit that we wanted to, you know, present the human experience and connect better. And I think it matters more than ever. You want to book a meeting, you want to know who you're booking a meeting with. You want to humanize that connection. You lower the risk, you increase the likelihood of that meeting then following on. So even if you're just using video as an assisted touch in the process, I think it's really, in a world of AI bots, become even more important.
with that being the drive, like that genesis of the ideas and keeping human at the center that we spoke about, and like the importance of staying connected. I know you've like WhatsApp has been added, video, you can play the video natively in LinkedIn and all that type of stuff. Like, how are you deciding which channels or like which platforms people can do the add and use in Sender? Because more and more we get asked about WhatsApp specifically, and then you guys have that, and I didn't tell you that that was coming up. So it seems like we're having similar conversations, right? But what's next? Where what other channels are you adding?
Life takes you on a journey, doesn't it? I was out in Singapore in March. We won a trip with Innovate UK to represent the UK as a Martech startup. And I was just bowled over by how prevalent WhatsApp first that whole space was. We're working with potential distribution partners out in APAC. Um, and so, yeah, I think we're just responding. We've been globally present almost from the outset. So we've got 120 countries represented in our user base already. But we're seeing APAC as a growth area and obviously the US. But APAC leans into WhatsApp. The US typically more into, John was in Austin and saying the SNS, still actually got a place in the. We were speaking to Rivian actually and chatting through how they can do sort of text-based experiences of leads that come in through their website. So I think there's some core channels we will look at extending to Insta at some point. We've had a random edge case with influencers using Sender who want to connect to their social audience. But I think for the core GTM, there's enough there already in email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and with SMS to come to do some really interesting, powerful experiences. So I think it's more important the method and the message then at that point. It's not the channel. The channel's pretty consistent from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Who then? If someone's watching this or they're seeing some of the clips from this episode and they think that sounds good. I buy into what they're talking about. I like the idea of consolidation, one place to go, personalized, human that like enables personal human, like my sales reps faces, co-founders faces being in the messaging, so we distinguish ourselves properly from AI or a lot of the other generic sales engagement tools. who who should be like using this tool? Is it something that someone should buy and give to their SDRs? Is it the go-to-market engineer? Is it maybe marketing, demand gen?
We've chatted before with James. It's like the evolving role. There's like this sort of growth architect. It could be a really, the increasing upskill of the SDR leader, RevOps, demand gen. So there'll be a variety of roles that sit in that kind of space where you're the architect beneath the team. And that's where we place ourselves. We're often the budget holder will come in as CRO or something, put us in, and then we work with the growth architects on like, here's the 3 to 5 initial experiences that we want to be able to run.
Yeah,
Every experience sender can be signal and webhook based, so you can just build out like these always on flows across a variety of touch points. And then often once we're in at that level, we'll then start to support the individuals within the team that want to do their pre-event outreach or their post-event follow-up or X, Y, and Z use cases. But yeah, we'd love to work with growth architects and we'll lean in on that. We've got guys in our team who are incredible at what they do. They've run their own outreach agencies in the past and we'll jump in and we'll build those experiences with people. The prompting gets you to a certain point, but we're happy to like jump on a call as well and just further refine.
where I see and like where the market is moving, everyone is starting to now cotton on to like, oh, I've actually created too much tech bloat, too much tech sprawl, and I need to get my team back on the phone. I need to get my team back face to face with customers. So we see with like the marketing directors we talk to and like heads of demand gen, they're
Mm,
doing more and more events, and they want a way that can feed the SDR team, and they want to know the SDR team is doing good prospecting into that, not just chucking it in Salesloft or chucking it into instantly and kind of forgetting about it. I think that's so you're really solving like a key issue there that should help both the marketing leadership as well as the SDR leadership, and any of them should come in looking at Sender.
yeah, totally. If you're going to be doing any kind of like clay enrichment pre-event where you load up your list, just put it in the sender. It'll be cheaper, easier. You can natural language prompt the clay, so you get clay gen, but without having to figure it all out. Basically, just natural language. What it is you want to research, what signals pre-event, or you can just do it on the fly. You meet people at an event, it'll go and research, do the outreach whilst you're at the event. So look, would love to. The event-based thing is a really nice little hook into building out with us from there.
you kind of got there before I had to prompt you, but like people using Clay, they've seen those like huge credit consumptions now, and again they're realizing, all right, this shouldn't be in the hands of my SDRs. I need one person in the team to like use it to architect some stuff and then feed and support my team. And this is just like Sendr is a much more cost effective manner of doing that, and probably more reliable in its results because it actually does outreach.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know where to start. The Clay journey was amazing, and we all take our hats off to those guys. Like they've earned their keep, but something happens when you reach that level. Like there's a focusing on profitability, and that's hitting the costs and the complexity of that tool. We decided to abstract away that complexity. So we've built a little text widget any SDR can use, just describe that research, and we go figure out the prompt, the data schema, and do that heavy lifting for the user.
Yeah,
That's already an advantage over Clay. But then we also have the option to do it in sequence, mid sequence, bottom, top, wherever you want to do that piece. So again, your team can set it up easily, but just use the credits wisely. And that user, that growth architect can still be in control of the whole piece. You can just duplicate and pass it into your team to run if that's how you want to do it. So yeah, it's exciting. We'd love to help. Just jump on in and support people. We are experienced growth guys ourselves, so we're not coming at this as like a tool experiment. We want to use this stuff and shape the future with teams. So jump on in.
excellent, great to have you on, Dave. Great to get a little bit of insight into, I guess, your background, like where the idea came from for Sendr, and I guess who you're serving. Where should people go to find out more about your journey, what you're doing, as well as Sendr?
Yeah, totally. Come to the site, Sendr.ai, Sendr.ai, to jump on in. If you sign up, you'll easily become part of our outreach flow and you can connect with me on WhatsApp that way. Or just head over to my LinkedIn and yeah, regularly posting from that space. And looking to get more involved in the events community in the US and UK as well. So I hope to see lots of you guys around as we collaborate more.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave. If everyone, you can like and subscribe to us on YouTube. It helps us grow, helps us get more great guests like Dave, and we'll see you on the next episode.